there's been a lot happening this week. On Tuesday, about 30 of us went to the Deuel County Commission meeting for the second reading of the moratorium for power plants. And that passed on a 3-2 vote. Unfortunately, because Missouri River Energy Systems had applied for a rezoning and a conditional use permit, and that hearing is going to happen before the moratorium takes place. This moratorium doesn't impact that proposal, which is really unfortunate because this group of people in larger numbers really started asking for moratoriums and protections in January, specifically to get the moratorium in place to affect that proposal.
My name is Sheila Manier. I'm a resident of Scandinavia Township, and I live 1 mile north of the proposed power plant. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. The news this morning is a disappointment to us because we've been asking since January for ordinances to help protect us, to make some rules before this plan comes into place. I initially created this document to talk about in support of the 1-year moratorium on power plants, and to support and conduct a proper environmental and community impact study to develop meaningful and protective ordinances. I still ask you to do this before this plant is built. Right now, we're being asked to make long-term decisions about facilities that can shape our land, our water, our air quality, our property values for decades. But we're being asked to do it without the benefit of updated data, without a comprehensive environmental review, and without ordinances that reflect the scale and complexity of today's energy projects.
But today I would politely ask the zoning board to deny a rezoning request from MRES. For the simple fact that I think the zoning board, the commissioners, the public, several of us brought forth the moratorium last month, and its intention was to slow down projects in Deuel County. Toronto Power Plant was one of those projects, but it was intended to slow down. It was the intent to get some social and environmental studies done before MRES construction of the Toronto Power Plant, and if that process has changed now, then I will again humbly ask the zoning board to deny the request for rezoning for the Toronto Power Plant and let them go by the moratorium that was intended to apply to that project.
I'm also going to show you a video of the power plant that we do have and give you some idea of what the continuous sound level is from this power plant. We have talked about this a couple of times, and oftentimes proponents of these power plants want to talk about the decibel levels, but we're learning a little bit more about the low frequency sound that is pervasive in this power plant specifically, that rumbles through your home and your body, and you can be 2 and 3 miles away, and this low frequency sound will just like hit you. And we're finding that that's a thing, and that there are concerns for health and just enjoyment of life around that low frequency sound.
A couple facts. Our county comprehensive plan says we're an ag county, and in our area especially, we already have significant amount of industrial energy projects, including 1 natural gas generator. Our concerns regarding these projects, they're not theoretical. It's not in my backyard kind of thing. These concerns are based on facts because we already have generators in our area. We know what problems can happen because we have the problems with the Otter Tail power plant already. And we deal with them on a regular basis, and we don't know how to get them addressed. Adding another generator before we have the time to figure out what's going on with the one we have, it just adds to the problem. And the more projects you add, the more difficult it gets to figure out what's causing the issues. We've been in contact with Otter Tail trying to figure out where is the low frequency sound coming from. And at first it was, they wanted to blame the wind towers, but it doesn't seem to be that. So if we add another project on top of that, or multiple, that makes it that much harder to differentiate between where it's coming from.
In other news, the legislature is still at it. I think they're in session for another week or two, and they can't seem to let it go. Last night there was a scare, an internet scare, and a chat group scare that they were going to try and hoghouse another bill to pass sales tax relief for data centers. And it was there. We had a copy of the language. It's funny that this bill, all the language was stripped out and red language was put in place, and it was a complete strip out, and what in South Dakota is called a hog house, which is a very descriptive term for a sneaky, underhanded process that people in power use to try and pass what they want without people noticing. Well, last night we noticed, and apparently the message got heard because that amendment got pulled and never got introduced. But it's really imperative that we continue to watch this legislature because, it's so sad to say this, but we can't trust our leaders. We can't trust them to represent us. We can't trust them to listen to us. We can't trust them to do what we want. So that's it from the wood shop / studio, more wood shop than studio. Sometime, and let me know if you're interested. I've got a few things to show you, some neat stuff that I've done or been working on here. If you want to see that, let me know. This winter it's been more studio than wood shop, really. But there are a few things, and if you're interested in seeing that, let me know. Thanks so much.